old souls, young souls, and all my damn souls in between. Welcome back to another week of Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jesse Elliott. Hey, guys, it is lit in the studio today. We have two very special guests who work together and work individually. We have SKTHAGR8, a producer from the Boston area, and we have a rapper from the Boston area, Chizz Capo. What's going on, guys? What's poppin'?
Thank you for having us.
Yes. How you guys feeling today?
Great.
Good. I'm feeling good.
You guys want to fill your cups?
Yeah, sure.
Let's
Why
do
not?
it.
All right.
Get some champagne.
Let's get it poppin'. We're about to crack it open, guys. We're going to get into how these two men in the Boston area became motivated into producing, rapping, and music in general, and what they're doing now with a lot of fire music that's been dropping over the last couple years and a new project coming out soon. Sean, I'll kind of let you take it away. So, what are you as a producer? When did you get into producing? Who are you? Where are you from?
All right, hold on. Before we do that, cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers. Hey, let me throw a drop.
So who am I? Producing wise, or say it again? Say the question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as a producer, who are you? Where are you from? When did you get into producing?
So I'm from Peabody, Mass.
Hey,
Just
shout
like you.
out.
Just like you.
The place that nobody knows on the North Shore.
That's right.
Peabody.
We're gonna change that. But I've been doing it for about 6 years. Started taking it serious about 2 to 3 years ago.
Dope.
Man, it's funny because I started rapping, as you know.
Yes.
I realized that my face and my voice are not the best for rapping. So,
He's like, they just did not add up.
No,
they didn't
add up.
match.
They didn't add up. I had the ear, but the voice and the face, no, I didn't have.
Yeah.
So I understood that, and I kind of stepped away from that and started trying to find another piece of what I like to do, music, and production just came natural. Some tough times, but it turned out, I love it now. I can't wish for anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Hey.
That's fire.
And, Capo, how did you get into music in general or, rapping, however you started into the scene?
Every time I hear that question, it's kind of confusing for me because I always loved music since I was a kid. I grew up listening to my brothers, they listened to hip hop. My mom, she listened to Haitian music, and my cousins and sisters, they listened to reggae music. So I had all different types of music around me growing up. So I just always loved music, but I didn't start rapping until I got to college in 15.
Okay.
But I lied. I didn't start rapping until 2017.
Got you.
I started taking it more serious around 2018 and stuff like that.
Did you start writing? I guess this is a question for both of you, maybe. Did you guys start writing before you started rapping? Was that the initial love, or was it more? No, Capo said no. He's shaking his head. Oh, Capo, you don't have to talk into the mic.
Oh, I don't?
No, you can just sit up. You can be comfortable.
I did not start writing at all. I started freestyling over old beats and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that was just pretty much my process.
Okay, got you.
For myself, when I was rapping, you really want to know the story?
I want to know,
The
Sean.
story isn't that great.
Wait, can I just say, let me just give a behind the scenes.
Go for it.
Me and SKTHAGR8, because he's the greatest and I'm the greatest, we went to high school together. So we've been knowing each other from back in the day. So our story goes way back.
We go way back.
Yeah. So I seen SK before he was doing anything.
Yeah. It was you know me. It was funny.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me what SK was like before the music and the production.
I'll tell you what SK was like. I'll give you the down low. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Off record.
Because I still be finding out.
I used to freestyle. I used to go to the shout out to the Blue Room. That's how I started rapping. Is Seti, Frankie, and that's how I started understanding how to rap and finding my flow. And from that point, I started writing. Now, when I realized that my freestyles were better than my writing, it was kind of hard because I had a lot of ideas in my head. And it's kind of hard to put that down when you're not as good as a writer as much as you are as being able to spit off top of the dome.
Definitely.
So
it's a different art form.
Yeah, it's a different art. But when I was making records, I was definitely writing. It was hard because freestyling was, and when I started, freestyling was a waste of time for the engineer. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a great product out of it. Back then, you weren't going to get a great product out if you weren't prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's games 360. You can make a hit record just freestyling.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to make sense.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
It's very true.
But there's an artistry in it where you can actually make something amazing with that concept, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
he's gotten so much better with what he's been doing. When I met him, he was freestyling, but he started writing, and writing just it's when you start getting into your writing habit and how you really start writing and what you're trying to feel.
It's crazy.
The story start telling itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the facts. And that's something actually that I want to highlight about you, Capo, is that all of your music that I've listened to from the album that you dropped in 2019, Live Full, Die Empty, up to 2021, Aim Different, all of your songs consistently are very lyrical. A lot of emotion, passion that you put behind it. It's not just talk shit type rap, which is kind of different from what you hear nowadays. And both are great. You know, it's not to say one's better than the other. So, you know, from your end, like when I said writing, you were kind of like, nah, but like I feel like you are a writer.
I'm definitely a writer, 100%. Like I started off freestyling, but like as I got like more into the music and I wanted to grow and elevate, and I'm listening to like other rappers now, like in the game, I'm just like, to get my stuff to that level, I gotta put the pen behind the pad, you feel me? And really like work.
Facts.
So that was
And so, I mean, for everyone listening in who doesn't know you guys, doesn't know SK8HAGR8, doesn't know Chizz Capo, how did you guys meet?
I could tell the story.
When did that happen?
We've told this story a couple times, but I'll give you an exclusive. So
exclusive. Excuse me. Okay, you heard it here first.
How it really went down is I was DJing a set for a rap group at the time at Brighton Hall Music. Brighton Music Hall. Excuse me. And from there, I was doing my set, and he was on like 2 acts after me. And when he got on stage, I was using my ear, which is what you're supposed to do as a producer. And I was like, damn, I got some stuff for him. You know what I mean? This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I got some stuff for him. I think he could really kill. I got his information once he got off the stage. From there, we linked. I sent him songs, and it was like, it wasn't the same than what he was doing beforehand.
Yeah.
And my production was just helping him grow as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then 1 song turned to 2 songs, 2 songs turned to 3 songs, 4 songs turned to 8 songs, and we were like, we should just do a project.
Hey,
like we
that's dope.
we should do something, because I think I know this is getting out of your question, but I think that when we got together, it was making sense for our careers, and also it's helping us push the envelope of what we can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these last 3 years have just been like night and day compared to, you know, where we were back then.
Yeah.
When I first linked up with SK, at first I thought, I was like, you know, producers coming to me all the time, be like, yo, I got beats for you there. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, send an email. And he actually sent that email. We did that first record, which was hard. I put it on my other project, and then we just worked again. And then he was like, yo, let's do a project.
Yeah.
And even first, when he told me let's do the project, I was like, yeah, whatever, okay, cool, let's do it. But I'm not really taking it serious at first. He'd probably tell you that too. Like, I was probably like,
It's hard to trust people in the music or any industry, because people say things and then they don't follow up with their actions. So when someone follows up, it's like, oh shit, you're for real? Like, okay, let's work.
He was booking the sessions.
Yeah.
Every single sessions that we did for that project, he booked. You feel me? Like, he was putting everything into it and like really putting his time. And like, so if somebody's giving me that effort, I owe them that same exact effort back. You feel me? So we just locked in, and once I'm here and somebody's meeting me at that same level, you feel me? Magic happens.
You were doing beat production at the time?
Correct.
So so you were sending him beats that he could work on?
Correct.
So I guess maybe to both of you, but maybe more to you, Capo, but what was it about the beats Sean was making, or the vibe that you felt, that made you want to go on those beats, or that changed, like, I don't know, the music for you?
It's going to sound simple, but it was just different from all the other beats that I was getting. Yeah. I wanted to, like, I don't know, I kind of wanted to like really mold myself into an artist and like really have a certain type of sound to myself. And in that same sense, like, I really don't have a sound. That's what makes me kind of me. Yeah. But his beats were just different. I knew that I could add something to his beats, and this beat could add something to my vocals and the whole song in general. So it was just that, like, the beats were different, like the sounds were different that he was using at the time.
The style complements the lyricism. Exactly. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. And it's dope when you find a partner and you guys can connect and be like, okay, we can really make something out of this. And with that, though, as you guys know, I'm sure, comes consistency and effort and time. And I'm sure, like, even when you start working with people, it's like the trust factor and getting past that, because in today's, day and age, as we know, it's like dog eat dog, like who's better, competitive, like I don't want, like nobody wants to, be teamwork, like it's all one for one.
Right.
How do you guys feel like working as a team? Because I feel like before this, at least for Sean, I feel like you've been working kind of as an individual artist.
Yeah.
Capo, I feel like from stuff I've seen, you've kind of been individual artists with features along the way. Do you guys like working team production?
Yeah, and shout out to our engineer, Dan, his engineer. I came really close with him. Dan DeFraze.
Hey, shout out Dan.
Goat, man.
Dan the man.
He helped bring our vision to life through the mixing, and helped us like get closer and understand what we're good at, what we're not good at, how we can be better.
Yeah.
And that's part of the team. We've never been about I. You know what I mean? I think when we started this, my goal was to have us both on the same plateau and obviously elevate both of our games so we can both make it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I think what we have is good enough to show the area that we're from that we're not something to pass over.
Yeah.
In the sense of what we have coming late April was no pass. So it's the same concept where it's like, you know what I mean? Like we're giving you a taste of something, but don't come back when you want something from us, because we know how fire this is. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Many meanings. Another meaning of no past that the way I think about it is like all the lame people that you got in your life who trying to bring you down or just doing weird stuff around you, like they don't get no pass no more. You feel me?
Right.
Like if I'm pouring into you and you're not pouring back into me, you don't get a pass no more.
Facts.
I'm not reaching,
Right. We don't I feel like it's like we don't accept that energy anymore. There's this. I'm not gonna be able to quote the name of the song, but it's like I think it's Pusha T, Diet Coke. Like my price isn't the same today as it was yesterday.
That's Fat Joe.
What'd you say?
That's Fat Joe.
Is it Fat Joe? Oh, okay, yeah. But it's like I think he cut a sample of it on his song.
Yeah, it was from his This happened. I'll give you the backstory of how that happened. I think it was from the Locks and the Dipset thing, and how Jadakiss destroyed everybody. He was just saying like his price today is not the same as yesterday's price.
Yeah.
Obviously, meaning that what he just showed is going to be completely different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his skill, everything. Like you're gonna have to pay now. You're gonna have to step up your game to try to get to where we want to get to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's like the same concept of what you were just saying.
Right.
What Fat Joe was saying is that we know like right now this is where it is, but come time in the next year or a couple months, it's not gonna be the same.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
And that's all it's about. And it's like being better every day. You know what I'm saying? Like if you did something today that you didn't do yesterday, you're already winning.
Yeah,
so it's just keeping on that path of like, how do you keep going forward? And like for both of you, I guess this can go to finding your style as a producer, as a rapper, as an artist. Like, how was that process for you guys? Did you feel like there was a struggle to like, this is what I am, or you're still on the way to figuring out what your style is, or like, will it always kind of be changing?
I think personally, you always elevate every time you get better at your craft.
Facts.
So with artists that you hear, if they're elevating their game, they're changing how they're doing things. You're learning new styles, you're learning new cadences for the rapping aspect.
Yeah.
Production-wise, you're learning how to play a different instrument, you're learning how to use a different sound.
Yeah.
And at first, I was just like every other person doing trap music and making the same sounds. And when you start getting deep into diving into sonics and how you really want them to play, I started figuring out my little techniques, my little things. And also, shout out to John Glass.
Shout out John Glass.
I was interning with him for a couple years, and he literally put me under his wing, and I saw how to always not put yourself in the box. Always be able to be ready at any moment. Always keep yourself prepared.
Yeah.
And from just watching him, his grind, his struggle, his hustle, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And I was never content with where I was. You know what I mean? Never staying in the same spot, always trying to learn a different thing. Because you only can elevate as yourself if you keep learning. If you stop thinking you learned everything, you're not there. You know what I mean? And that's what he showed me, is that There's always room for improvement. There's always stuff you can learn. There's never a day. You could be 60 years old and you can learn something new.
Facts. We're lifelong learners. Oh, I'm
Yes,
so
sir.
glad that you said that, Sean.
You know what
I brought
I mean?
that up in so many of my shows. It's 100% true.
It is.
Yeah.
It's, you'll never stop learning. You know what I mean? There's always something you can learn, and that's going to help and benefit you with your career or with what you're doing in life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for that aspect and that gem of life that I received from him, that he showed me, I took it and ran with it, and
Yeah.
I've never looked back. You know what I mean? It's a blessing to have people around you that support you, that see where you are and see what you can do and hear the roughness of what you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And they take it and they try to help you, mold and be better at what you're doing. And I think that's another aspect. I'm getting off topic, but I think it's another aspect of having a right team around you.
Yeah.
Having people that support you and not just be yes people.
Facts.
You know what I
Sometimes
mean?
it's necessary to say no sometimes,
Exactly.
for the business.
Exactly.
Like, you can't always say yes.
No, and business is hard to get into something that you love, because then you got to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's the tough part that I've learned recently, is that not to get too emotional with the business aspect, because it's just business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is what it is at the business aspect, but I think what I've learned is you do something you love, the money will come with it.
Yeah. You can't do it for the money, because
The money won't happen that way. It won't
yeah.
happen that way.
Like,
No.
money doesn't drive love. You feel me?
No.
Opposite. So, and Capo, how about you, like, with your style and how you're transitioning your art, maybe from, let's say, when you dropped your first album to the album you're about to drop with SK, what has been, like, your struggle or dynamic?
Change has been crazy. It's been so different. When I dropped my first album or my first project, I think I was like mostly rapping, I would say. Like
Okay.
mostly like just rapping. I was still doing other different stuff, like
Yeah.
I was putting a little bit in it, but
Yeah.
it was just mostly rapping. I would say like now it's like everything.
Mm.
Everything you could think of I'm doing. Like I learned cadences through working with like different artists, and I learned how to really like track out my vocals and stuff like that with my engineer.
Yeah.
Like a whole bunch of new stuff that goes into it. I'm learning, like I'm producing as well with my producers and the engineer. So it's like a whole bunch of stuff is being added into it
That's
to the
so
type of artist I am now. So
Nice.
I'm just
And-
learning a lot, leveling up.
Yeah, we always got to level up. And anyone listening in, like, if you have been struggling, if you are an artist, if you are a producer, a musician, a rapper who's trying to build your brand or yourself, just remember, levels are always steps. You don't get to the next step unless you step on the first step. You feel me? Like, we can only stretch ourselves so far. It takes time to get there. It's always a process. SK and Capo both are representations of it being a process and us finding our way, to get to the end goal. Sometimes we don't even know what the end goal looks like,
Yeah.
but we know that there's something there.
Correct.
Yeah. For both of you, I guess, inspiration wise, like, what pushes you to know that something is there even when it's not able to be seen? Like, what makes you guys want to keep doing this every day when you wake up?
It's just the love of the music. That's it. I just love music. It's just part of my life. It's how I release my emotions, how I cope with my feelings. It's just the love of the music. Like, I don't know what else I'd be doing if I wasn't like doing music, for sure.
Me personally, same thing. Love the music. I've always loved music, but back to what I was saying before, is the people surround me. You're only as good as the people that surround yourself, and I'm so thankful to have people in my corner like Melks, Tiba, Thomas Forbes, Eddie Random, Vinyl Villain, John Glass.
These are huge names in the North Shore area.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't heard them, make sure you check out every person that Sean is dropping right now.
And there's a lot more. There's tons more
list goes on.
that I'm missing, but they've helped me grow who I am to be today.
Yeah.
Without them, I probably wouldn't be on the show. Straight up, would
I
not
feel
be on
that.
the show. And it's tough love, learning how to take falls and get back up. But if someone sees the vision and someone sees what you're trying to do and they help you elevate, you can't ask for anything more. I took what they gave me and try to do what I can do best. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Yeah.
I'm sitting here today from the lessons that I've learned from these people that have been doing it for 10, 15 years.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And learned what they did wrong and what they did right, and taking it and trying to, make what I do. Now, I'm not going to say I haven't done everything right,
Yeah.
but that's my own journey that I have to learn from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Learning the faults that I make, wrongs that I do, make them right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's, yo, thank you so much for bringing that up, because that's the fact of the matter. We're all just on our journey. We have to fail so that we can succeed. If you don't fail, you don't know what to do right next time. You know what I'm saying? You don't know the right from the wrong. We have a learning curve that we all have to process.
Yes.
It's just how you go through it.
Correct.
And we all have a different way that we're going through it. Like when I talk to people and they're struggling and I'm struggling, I'm like, we're in the same book, different page.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're all in that same fucking book. It's just we're all on a different page trying to figure it out. We're all trying to get to the last chapter. It's just how do you get to that chapter? And you know, with you guys both being, I know you say rap, but like you're kind of more everything else as well. So I like to call that flowetry, because I feel like it encompasses all. So it's like you can do like Afro beats, you could do rapping, you could do whatever, harmonizing, cadences, all that. But I kind of looping it into the hip hop scene, you know, and like from myself being, I'm also a spoken word poet. So since I've known SK since high school, I've been writing poetry. Since before I knew SK in high school, I've been writing poetry. And it was a motivation of me to start loving hip hop and music. Some of my biggest influences being like Nas, Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, J. Cole, the list goes on. But how do you guys feel like what you're creating, what you're doing, the project that you're going to drop, how is this affecting the hip hop community in Boston? Because, you know, the Boston scene, people like to hate on it. Some people like to love it. There's a lot of different opinions. But what you guys are creating together, just kind of like, what is that putting out to our community in Boston?
I think that it should be adding something to the community. You know what I mean? Just another set of music or another set of eyes, people just looking into Boston, you know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the, I'm not really like, when I finish projects, it'd be like, whatever, okay, I record. But this project right here I've been working on for like the past 9 months with SK, I could proudly say like, I'm really, really proud of this project.
Yes.
And I haven't felt like this about all my projects, you know what I mean? But this one is 6 songs. I feel like every single song is just like one of them ones, you feel me? If the city ain't gravitating towards this or latching on to this, then I don't fucking know what else to, you know?
Hey.
But this is definitely adding something to the city. I think it's gonna be special for the city.
And I just gotta say, sorry, before you make your comment, Sean, you said 9 months you've been working on this, right? This is like literally your baby. And that's not even an exaggeration. Like you have been putting your time, your effort, your energy, your love, and you've been building this until it comes to fruition. That's like how I feel about my podcast. Like when I see the end results of creating a show, it gives you this joy like, yo, that's why I put all my effort into it. That's why the hard days sucked. That's why I struggled. That's why I this. That's why I that, to get to that moment where you're like, yo, I fucking love this art I created.
It's gonna show too.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna show.
Yeah, it's gonna show. And you know, SK, like how do you feel like your producing or Capo's music is adding to our Boston scene?
I think it's not the norm. I think we're stepping out of what people are used to hearing. Facts. Meaning in the same template of people doing the same stuff over and over again. We're making our own sound, our own lane, to the point where, like you said, we're adding to the scene, but we're also showing people that you don't have to stay in that lane that everyone else is in to make something great.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So what can the people expect from this? What kind of
this is the beginning of something great. Like this is just the start of how we're portraying ourselves to the world, including into Massachusetts and Boston. But it's showing people, you know, you don't have to be in that norm. You don't have to do all this stuff to look fly. You don't have to be clout chasing. If you put the hard work in and you put the
talk that shit.
If you put the stuff in that you really believe that you can do, anything's possible. 100% anything's possible. And it's just hard work, determination, making shit happen. And you know, like he said, if Boston doesn't fuck with it, which I know they will fuck with it, it is what it is. Because I know what I have, and he knows what he has. Yeah. And eventually, people are gonna come back around and be like, "Okay, I see what you're doing." It might not hit right when it drops. It might not hit 3 months from now. It might not hit a year later. It might hit 2-3 years later. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. 2-3 years later. Excuse me. But you know, it's gonna hit regardless. Right. You know what I mean? And this is just the start of where we want to put our careers at.
Yes. Well, we are super excited to see the project dropping in April. And you know, guys, like, it's dope to see two people coming together. Something like No Pass being dropped in the city, especially in the next like couple months. We need new music. We need new heat. The summer's coming. That's what we're looking for.
It's coming.
You know it's coming. But along with the heat, along with the dope music, and like I've been saying this whole time, and like we've all, I feel like, been repeating in our own ways, it comes from the motivation.
Yep.
And at least my motivation came from struggle. I have openly talked about on the show that I've struggled with anxiety, depression, self-doubt, just, you know, not believing in myself, no self-love, growing up in bad situations, bad relationships, and informing a mold of myself that, you know, was not what I felt on the inside. And then I had to push through that to be like, okay, so how do I reverse this and how do I come out on the other side? And, you know, like Capo, when I'm reading your bio and I'm listening to your music, I see that, you know, the environment that you grew up in played a lot into your lyrics and how you are as a person in general.
For sure.
Can you kind of elaborate a little on how you were raised, what you came up, and how that affected you?
Yeah, it'll take
if you don't
a
mind
whole book to really explain, but I'll get into like a couple details and stuff like that. I was raised with like huge family, like single mother, 6 brothers, 6 sisters, 3 brothers, like a big family.
You got
like,
a full house.
You know what I mean? Like we grew up like pretty tough, pretty impoverished, 3 to a bedroom, like type situations, you know what I'm saying? Like homelessness. I went through a lot of stuff. Even these two probably don't know about. I haven't really, you know, dig really deep into it, but I grew up like tough situations, like losing family and friends to like the jail system, street violence, all that type of different stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And you know,
but as I got into the music, that was something that really helped me like release all those emotions and stuff that I had built up because I didn't really know how to talk to nobody about what I'm going through. You feel me? Everybody else thought I was cool, happy. Oh, Chizz, he played ball. He's this. But I was really going through some real life situations and stuff like that. So
yeah. And it's those things that build the character and the artist within you, the things that, you know, and shout out you. Thank you for even like saying that on the show.
Man. I know a whole bunch of people probably going through the same type of stuff. You feel me? I'm so proud of where I am now. You feel me? So it's like.
And that's what it's about, being an example, showing like other young men who are in the city, who are raised in the same situation you were raised in. If you have a dream, it can still be possible. Just because you're going through poverty or struggle or homelessness or anything in between that you could never even explain to us because only we can live our stories. You know, that's the motivation for others to be like, yo, if he can do it, I can do it. You know, if you guys can, you know, be 2 names that no one heard of who came out of the city who struggled through this and that. And then in 10 years, they're like, oh, all right, SK Capo, okay, we got you. Like, you know, it comes back around and it's just about pushing through it and becoming who the seed is that you were supposed to be, which is where I feel like you're at now. So I just want to shout you out for being like such a dope person.
And we're not even at the prime yet. You feel me? We still working.
Hey, can you repeat that?
We're not even at my prime yet.
He's not even at his prime yet. Y'all heard?
We're still scratching the surface with all this stuff. So there's a lot more to come. A lot of more dope shit to come.
Dope.
Yeah.
You know, same for you, SK. If you want to put your input on that.
Struggle and I mean. I didn't live the way he lived. I was more of suburbia, white middle class. But I can speak on depression and self-doubt. I still deal with it today. I ain't gonna lie.
Same.
It's tough to, you know, wake up every day and try to you know, show yourself this is what you really can do.
Yeah.
And depression is really something that can really cripple you. I know from experience it's not fun, you know.
Facts.
Depression will hit you most of the days, and sometimes you gotta get yourself out of there, dig yourself out of that hole. But there is a silver lining to everything you do. You know what I mean? There's a reason why God put you in this plan, in this way that you're working in your life. You know what I mean? So I think everything has a reason. Everything, you know, happens for a reason. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been a struggle, but every day is brighter than the next. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's just all about working out of it, making sure that you stay focused, keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing, and if you believe in yourself, a lot of things can happen for yourself.
Hey, that's what we love to hear on the show. We love to hear it. If you can, you know, believe in yourself, if you can put the time, the effort, and energy, anything can happen. Anything is possible. Anyone who is telling you otherwise is a liar. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them change your mindset. You have to know what's good for you. You know, as SK knows, as Capo knows, you know, there is a certain process you have to go through to find you. And it's okay to admit you're not okay and you're still on that process. I'm not okay and I'm still on that process. So, you know, anyone listening in, it's okay to not be okay. Just want to put that out there. Because it creates the best art sometimes.
Yeah. I've learned a lot about him through his stuff that he's recorded on my stuff that I would never know. You know what I mean? And that tells you a lot about a person without them explaining themselves to you about what's going on.
It's like a therapy session without having to go sit on a couch with somebody and like literally talk about your whole life and pay money.
And tell someone about their life that they don't really care about probably.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
like
I wouldn't say they don't
therapy.
care about you, but there's a different outlet in this world now than going to therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I wish people, you know, younger generations really use that to their advantage. Yeah. They don't really need to talk to someone. If they need to talk to someone,
it's always great to talk to.
It's still great to talk to someone, but you can always confine somebody, and it doesn't have to be a professional.
Yeah, I think the main thing is talking. Like that is the main point. Like anybody who is struggling, talk about it. Whether it's to your mom, your best friend, your girl, a stranger. As long as they're willing to listen and you're willing to talk, like it's always good to put it out there. I like to be as open as possible because then being open gives other people the opportunity to be open, you know? Exactly. So that's all we can do. And through music, that's really what you guys are doing as well. Like you opening up about, you know, your struggles and through your lyrics and explaining all that, like that opened Sean's eyes, that opened my eyes, and that will open hundreds of other people's eyes to the same thing, you know, like we can all come up. So I just appreciate you guys, everything you're doing around the city. And, you know, you both kind of have similar styles, but different styles. So I'm just wondering, you know, as you were raised or till today, whatever, who are your biggest musical inspirations or your favorite artist growing up, favorite, whatever? Like, who is the biggest one on your art?
I have a whole bunch. Because like I said, I listen to a whole bunch of music, whole different genres.
I name like 6 at a time.
But some of like the people that I know for sure, like I was listening to a lot growing up with like Kanye West, 50 Cent,
Hell yeah.
Diplomats, you feel me? Who else? Like Wayne for sure.
Lil Wayne's a legend
Nate
till
Dogg.
this day. Nate Dogg, okay.
You know, Ty Dolla $ign, like a whole bunch of like different artists that got whole different cadences and stuff like that. Biggie, Pac, obviously, Drake. But I was listening to a lot of people.
Myself, Kanye. I think Kanye did a lot for me. Kid Cudi did a lot for me back in high school time.
When you went outside of the box, yo,
I'm not a big Cudi fan.
Cudi.
That's when I knew you, Sean.
Me and her, when we seen each other around, somehow Cudi would always be playing.
Facts. We were obsessed.
And I think that was the part of where we were depressed and we weren't happy with our lives. And Cudi brought us out. A lot of people don't like his music, but it spoke to me, spoke to her. She can speak for herself.
Yeah.
I would say the Locks. I would say shout out to John Glass again. All those, the Nowhere Studios, No Mas Free team. They put an inspiration in me to be like making music that I love. You know what I mean?
Right.
Biggie, Pac, like all old school stuff. Like I think I have an old soul. Like when I started listening to music, I listened to the Beatles.
Hey.
And then from there, it made me a little, you know, because a lot of people be like, "Oh, this band's better." I'm like, no. The Beatles are the best band in the world. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Somehow that landed me towards hip hop, learning about Tupac. I remember I was 4 years old, and I heard Tupac died in 1997, and I cried. I was 4 years old.
Yo, you already knew.
I already knew that there was something special about what I heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's stuff like that just changes your way. Eminem, man, he changed the culture forever. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I'm not agree with some of the stuff he does now, but what he did to help progress the hip hop, incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And then like from your own music, I guess, if I could ask. So Capo, from like music you've created since you've started till today. Sean, same with you. Music that you've produced from before SK was SK till today. What's you guys' favorite songs that you have been on or produced or written?
I can't even answer that question.
You can't?
I can't answer that
Capo,
question.
you don't have a favorite
I
song?
don't have a favorite song.
You gotta pick one.
I got like a favorite 5 or 10 songs.
You got a favorite album? He's like, nah, I love them all.
Probably this next album I'm dropping is gonna be my favorite album.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, No Pass is
So
gonna be
y'all
my
stay
favorite
tuned
album.
for that then.
Stay tuned for No Pass, my favorite album. Sure.
I've been listening to our project for about 4 or 5 months, so you can just imagine I don't listen to anything else. Which
You
is
have it on repeat, like you're driving, you're eating. It's just like
I did at one point. I kind of
Yeah.
stopped listening to it now because I've heard it so much.
yeah.
There's some songs on there that really hit home where I listen to them every time, and it gives me chills every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some other albums too, but like what we have right now is kind of what I've been focusing on.
Okay.
I would say Donda's album was amazing.
Yeah.
Sonically it was amazing.
Definitely. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah, into inspiring us and making us, more creative souls. But besides the album you guys are dropping, do y'all plan to keep working together?
Yeah.
Should the people expect to see y'all doing things in the future?
We're definitely gonna do some more work in the future for sure. Like it would be crazy if we didn't.
Yeah.
That would make no sense. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I'm excited to see some visual. I don't know if you're playing visuals. I've seen some of your music videos before, Capo, so I'm like hoping a visual drops to this one.
We got some visuals.
Know.
We got some visuals ready
Something's
to go.
coming.
Yeah, got some visuals ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And like we talked about and touched base on being an old soul and being different and struggling and everything that I talked about that I've been through. Me myself, I've always felt like an old soul. Like I said, Sean
sure.
knows me from high
Same.
school. I'd be at my desk. Right, I'm actually gonna whip out this story. I wasn't, but I'm gonna whip it out. So me and Sean, like I said, we went to SK, went to high school together, and our desks were like right next to each other. And he would always see me. I'd be like at my desk writing poetry in high school. I remember even one time, my teacher called me out. He was like I had my phone out, I was texting and I was writing a poem. He was like, yo, put your phone away. Like he got all upset and I was like, I'm writing a poem. And he was like, I don't care, put your phone away. I was like, what? So you want me writing in school? Like I was that girl. Like I'm over here like
Right.
secretly like writing poems and shit. So Sean would see me at my desk writing all this shit. And one day he was like, yo, how do you write a poem? Like, why do you write a poem? Like, and we started chopping it up about lyricism and writing and why I got into it and why I do, like, I don't know. And I feel like it formed this like connection,
Full circle, that's crazy.
this full circle of like, I never knew that Sean was going to be producing, working under John Glassmelks, like all these people. And until today, following his own passion to be here. And then me, myself, like I would never imagine having a podcast. And when you see the tables turn and like everyone listening in, the background, the story is like, you do not know the person sitting next to you, the talent that they hold. You can't judge them by, you can't judge a book by their cover. You don't know who someone is until they want to show you or until they can show themselves. So, just be open-minded, no judgment, show love. If there's people who are there for you before you became anything, people who supported you, make sure you give that back. Give it back to them, give it back to the community, give it back to yourselves. And that's how I feel about Sean. Like before I started being anything, he was already supporting me, like having artistic conversations. So I just wanted to shout you out for that. And when I was in transition of my podcast, Sean was there ready and willing to like help me out.
I saw what you were trying to do.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like you
you're a
said,
dope person.
since then I think the hip hop thing. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know there's 5 elements of hip hop, and you really took into a craft of what you really love to hear. And it was more about the culture and anything that really helped you grow as a person and helped you grow as a grown woman as you are right now.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Yo, that was like the biggest compliment I could ever get. And I love the way you said it because it was the culture that helped me grow and it was the people around me and it was the situations and groups that I put myself in and the lessons I learned and the failures I had from the age of 15 till now in 2022, becoming who I am to be able to do this today. So it's just dope to know that like we all struggled and we're all still struggling, but we're all getting to that next level. And that's what it's about. Like I said, leveling up. But anyways, I completely went off the track of my question. What do you guys think that it means to you from whatever you've been through in your lives as a producer, as a musician, through the struggle till today, to be an old soul in a young world?
You want to go?
What does it mean to be an old soul in a young world? I don't know. I would say I have an old soul too, just because I love old music and I love what the times were like when I was young. Like growing up, like how I grew up with like my family and friends, like playing in the backyard, stuff like that. It's just not the same no more. I feel like everybody's just so focused on their phones and a bunch of other shit that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Old soul, young world means to just still grasp those same characteristics like you used to have in this new world, new generation, I would say.
Yes, yo. It's like those values that we lose.
Yeah, those morals and values. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, mine? Oh, you want to answer for me?
Oh, it's your turn. It's your turn.
Old soul, new in a young world. Excuse me.
Or just in general, like what's it mean to be an old soul?
It's for me personally, I feel like it's understanding the roots of whatever you're doing beforehand. Yeah. Understanding, doing the research, understanding who was before you, really getting a grasp of what's going on in the world today, which is the young part, I feel like. Trying to take the stuff that you will learn from the past and bring it to the future and maybe flip it up a little bit, but also trying to get your word out, making people understand what you're really trying to get at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the young world, I feel like, is just this younger generation that's, in my opinion, is pretty crazy, pretty wild right now.
A little bit.
But I feel like the old soul part is you taking what you've learned and relating it to them so they can understand what you're trying to talk about.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. And you know, in different ways, we're all kind of doing that because we're being examples, you know, coming from whatever we come from, all different walks of life, and creating our specific art forms and our pathways and showing others, you can do that. You can do it too. You can do that shit too. And, you know, guys listening in, you know, shout out yourself, shout out you for being a motivated individual. If you've been tuning into Old Soul Young World, you know, make sure you check out SK, make sure you check out Chizz Capo, because they have that same type of soul energy that you guys will want to be hearing, that you want for the summer, that you're going to want to enjoy in 2022. Can y'all please shout out and let the people know where they can find your music, when they can find the album when it drops at the end of April, and, you know, anything going forward, any projects you guys got coming out? Yeah,
you can find me on any digital streaming platform at Chizz Capo. You can find me on IG, social media platforms at Chizz_Capo. We got No Pass dropping April 29th. 6 of the best songs you probably ever heard in 2022 so far. And then after that, yeah, we're just going to keep working. We got more music coming in June, and later in the summer, it's going to be a big year for me. Tap in.
Myself, it's SKTHAGR8 everywhere across the board. Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on any DSP, digital, you know, digital downloading service, or, you know, anywhere. But yeah, No Pass coming out, and people are gonna talk about it. People are gonna hear about it. You know what I mean?
Y'all gonna hear about it. Y'all gonna know.
Facts.
Y'all gonna enjoy it. I might get a little preview, so don't be jealous, but it's coming, so get ready.
If you ain't bumping it, you don't get a pass anymore.
And before we log off today, guys, I just want to shout out real quick, if you're tuning in through a visual on Spotify video or on YouTube, just want to shout out the dope ass sweatsuit I have on. Shout out Obstruction of Art, the creator of the sweatsuit, Deb. She does all of her own printing. She's a locally owned, woman-owned business. Make sure you check her out on all platforms, Instagram, social media, NAN Obstruction, spelled that way, of art. So she's a dope girl. Definitely go show support. But again, I just want to shout you guys out for coming on the show. Super motivating.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. And you know, anything in the future that you guys are dropping, make sure you hit me up, because we'd love to get it out to the audience.
Do it.
Absolutely.
Yes. But you know, guys, the story that Capo has, the story that SK has, and the story that I have, we're all, like I said, same book, different pages. We're all just trying to get to that next place in our life. And how do you do it? By struggling and getting over the struggle to get better. None of us go through life, you know, in just an easy way and have nothing coming our, you know, no obstacles, nothing coming our way. It's it's irrelevant, and it's something that we show on social media that is not real.
Right.
So I just want to make sure y'all tap into yourselves internally through your mental health, through your lyricism, through your music, whatever it may be, whatever that self-therapy is for you, and make sure you tap in to their new album when it drops at the end of April.
Sir.
Hey, catch me again, guys, next week on Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jesse Ellie.